The County Ledger, Chapter 3. Eva Mercer did not leave the marina with the box. That was the first sensible choice she made all night. She photographed every page on the dock with her phone held low under her coat, the screen brightness turned almost black. Then she returned the folders to the evidence carton, slid the carton back into the locker, and looped the chain exactly as she had found it. Her father had spent his last months hiding truth in places that looked abandoned. She was not going to ruin his work by carrying the whole county's favorite motive through town in her passenger seat. The photograph of Owen Lark went into her jacket pocket. The lake wind had teeth. It moved over the empty slips and clicked the halyards against their poles, a dry, nervous sound that made every boat seem impatient to confess. Eva locked slip 14 and had taken 3 steps toward the parking lot when headlights swept across the bait freezer. She crouched beside a stack of winterized dock floats. A county cruiser rolled in without its roof lights, tires crunching slowly over gravel. It stopped beside her car. The driver's door opened. Deputy Halloran stepped out with a flashlight in one hand and a paper cup in the other, dressed like a man checking on a minor nuisance instead of guarding a lie old enough to vote. "Eva," he called. She did not move. He crossed to her rental and shone the light through the windows. "Tom's girl, you out here making this difficult?" The phrasing told her he had expected her. Not suspected, expected. Halloran walked toward slip 14 without hurry. At the locker he produced his own key, newer and cleaner than Celia's brass tag. Eva watched him open the chain, lift the lid, and pause. The carton remained inside. He exhaled through his nose, closed the locker, and took out his phone. "She's been here," he said. "No, the box is still put up. Yes, I'm looking at it." A pause. "Then tell Mateo he can stop calling me like I work for him." Eva held still until Halloran returned to the cruiser and drove away. She counted to 60, then 60 again. Back at the motel, she copied the photos to a cloud folder under a name boring enough to survive casual inspection. Dental receipts. She sent the folder link to herself, to an old editor in Louisville who still answered at bad hours, and to a prepaid email account her father had written on the back of a grocery receipt tucked into his ledger. The receipt had no note, just an address and one instruction: use only if they make me ordinary. At 6:40 a.m., someone slid an envelope under her motel door. Eva stood barefoot on the carpet and looked at it for a long moment before touching it. Plain white, no stamp, her name printed in block capitals. Inside was a photocopy of the Owen photograph with a red circle around the scar beneath his ear. Beneath it was a county incident report dated 12 years ago. The report listed responding officers, weather, vehicle damage, witness statements, and one clean conclusion: accidental drowning. At the bottom, under supplementary reviewers, was Tom Mercer's signature. Eva felt the old grief reach for the easy answer. Her father had known. Her father had signed. Her father was not the man she needed him to be. Then she saw the date. The report was stamped 2 days before Owen vanished. She dressed in 5 minutes and drove to the county records annex while the courthouse lawn was still wet with sprinklers. The annex had once been a bank, and the vault remained in the back behind a public counter staffed by a woman named June Pritchard, who had given Eva lollipops during property tax season when Eva was 8. June looked up over her glasses. "You look like your father when he knew he was about to be unpopular." "I need old incident report revision logs." "That is not a small ask." "I know." June glanced toward the hallway, then shut the ledger in front of her. "For Owen Lark?" Eva said nothing. "Your father asked for the same thing in March," June said. "I told him revision logs before the software migration were incomplete." "Were they?" "No." June stood and locked the front door with a hand-lettered sign that said "Back in 10. They were in the vault because Mateo Ruiz requested they be physically retained after the migration. That was the strange part. He never wanted paper unless paper protected him. In the old vault, June pulled a banker box from the bottom shelf. It smelled of dust, toner, and the patient boredom of public records no one expected to survive. She handed Eva a folder marked Lark Owen Incident Sequence. The revision log was not long. Draft report created 07:58 p.m. Cause pending, witness pending, reviewer pending. At 8:22 p.m., a second draft appeared with Tom Mercer's name inserted as reviewer. At 8:27 p.m., Tom's name was removed and replaced with Mateo Ruiz. At 8:31 p.m., Mateo's name was removed and replaced with Tom Mercer again. Eva tapped the page. Who had authority to change reviewer fields? Sheriff, county attorney, records administrator. June's mouth tightened. And a temporary disaster recovery account we used during the flood year. June did not answer right away. She opened a smaller envelope taped to the back of the folder and removed a photograph. Not the marina image. Older, grainier. The courthouse loading bay at night. Owen Lark, alive, stepping into a county transport van while Deputy Halloran held the door. Beside the van stood Tom Mercer with one hand raised, palm flat against Owen's chest. Not pushing, stopping him from getting out. Eva's throat went dry. Your father told me if you came for this, I was supposed to show you the second page first, June said. Why didn't you? Because I wanted to see whether you were looking for proof or absolution. The second page was a custody receipt for the transport van, signed by Mateo Ruiz as county attorney and witnessed by Celia Lark. Celia had said she signed everything set in front of her after the accident. The date on this form was a week before the accident. Eva heard her phone vibrate. Unknown caller again. She answered. Mateo sounded tired enough to be honest by accident. You need to stop opening boxes. Did my father help move Owen? Your father tried to keep Owen alive. June looked at Eva sharply. A lie from whom? Eva asked. Mateo went quiet. Through the vault's thick wall came a hard knock at the annex door. June moved to the security monitor and turned it toward Eva. Deputy Halloran stood outside with two men in county maintenance jackets. One carried a drill. The other held a replacement lock. Mateo finally said, From the people who just realized Tom taught you where to look.